The walls of Maranello are starting to shake. Ferrari's winless drought is dragging on, and with every passing Grand Prix, the pressure on team principal Fred Vasseur is reaching volcanic levels. According to insiders, he now has just 2 races, Austria and Silverstone, to prove he's still the right man for the job, fail to deliver, and he could become the latest casualty in Ferrari's infamous revolving door of team bosses. It's a brutal but all too familiar scenario for the Scuderia. The Italian media are in full attack mode, the tifosi are restless, and even whispers inside Ferrari hint at growing fractures between management and the pit wall. While Ferrari chairman John Elkann has stepped in to publicly defend Vasseur, many see it as a last-ditch attempt to hold a cracking foundation together. The car? Flawed. The results? Inconsistent. The mood? Toxic. And now, the legendary team that once built dynasties around Schumacher is teetering on the edge of a full-blown crisis. If Vasseur can't steer Ferrari back to the top step of the podium and fast, he could soon join the long list of ex-bosses shown the door. For a team chasing redemption, time is no longer a luxury. It's now or never. Unlike their top-tier rivals based in the UK's Motorsport Valley, the Scuderia operates out of Maranello, Italy, a geographical hurdle that complicates recruitment. Team boss Fred Vasseur summed it up perfectly when he took over from Mattia Binotto. You can go from Red Bull to Mercedes and nothing changes. You keep your house, your kids stay in the same school. Life is easy, but if you want to join Ferrari, you're relocating your whole world. And in a sport that values continuity and stability, that's a tall ask. From the outside looking in, it's easy to see Ferrari's predicament as just another quirk of motorsport. But in Italy, especially in Maranello, that kind of thinking is heresy. The phrase Forza Ferrari isn't just a slogan, it's practically a rite of passage, drilled into every new recruit from day one. Passion runs deep on the red side of F1. But as the English have painfully learned in football history, books don't win trophies, results do. Ferrari's last taste of Drivers' Championship glory came all the way back in 2007, and even then, it wasn't dominance that sealed it, it was chaos. McLaren's civil war between a fiery rookie named Lewis Hamilton and reigning double world champion Fernando Alonso tore the team apart. Kimi Räikkönen, ice-cool and flying under the radar, capitalized on the meltdown. He clawed back a seemingly impossible 17-point gap in just 2 races, back when a win was worth only 10 points. It was one of the most jaw-dropping turnarounds in F1 history, and Ferrari hasn't repeated the feat since. When Lewis Hamilton snatched his first world title in 2008, it was Ferrari who walked away with the constructor's crown, one last moment of shared glory before the drought began. Fast forward 17 years, and that same iconic red team is now enduring its longest titleless stretch in Formula One history. In Italy, where motorsport is a matter of national pride, the pressure is boiling over. To some, Ferrari's decision to sign Hamilton for 2025 felt like a gamble, an expensive headline move. But to others, it's a clear signal that Maranello is finally ready to evolve. It's not just about hiring a 7-time world champion. It's about dragging a tradition-heavy institution into the modern era of Formula One. History has a way of repeating itself. Nearly 30 years ago, it was Michael Schumacher who joined Ferrari during another barren spell. With him came Ross Brawn and Jean Todt. Together, they rewrote the record books with an era of domination few thought possible. The hope now? That Hamilton's arrival sparks the same transformation before Ferrari's legacy slips even further into the rearview mirror. Love him or loathe him, Michael Schumacher was the heartbeat of Ferrari's golden era, 6 years of relentless dominance that redefined what winning looked like in Formula One. But what many didn't see was the cultural overhaul happening behind the garage doors in Maranello. The old-school bravado of Italian motorsport was quietly dismantled, replaced by a colder, more clinical, Northern European efficiency. It wasn't just Schumacher's brilliance, it was a new Ferrari machine, rebuilt from within. That empire, however, came crashing down in the most unlikely way. Honda's revolutionary 2009 car, an engineering marvel left without a team, was handed to Ross Brawn for a symbolic £1. What followed was a fairy tale run to championship glory under Brawn GP. Then came Red Bull's era, with Sebastian Vettel sweeping up 4 straight titles. And just when the dust seemed ready to settle, Mercedes launched into orbit. 8 straight Constructors' Championships, 7 drivers' titles shared between Nico Rosberg and the unstoppable Lewis Hamilton. It was domination on a scale Formula One had never seen. But beneath the silver sheen lies a chapter of deep controversy. Ask any Ferrari fan and they'll tell you Felipe Massa should have been Brazil's first champion since Senna in 2008. Instead, he was robbed. The infamous Singapore Grand Prix scandal engineered by Renault should have rewritten the outcome of that season. But thanks to the cozy alliance between Bernie Ecclestone and FIA boss Max Mosley, the result stood even with overwhelming evidence of race fixing. Nothing changed. Justice in Formula One, it seems, has always been a matter of politics over principle. In the years since, Ferrari's journey has been littered with near misses, heartbreaks, and endless what-ifs. The most decorated team in Formula One history has come close, painfully close, but glory has always slipped through their fingers, and now in 2025, they may be scripting their most tragic chapter yet. After dominating the final stretch of the 2024 season, with arguably the fastest car on the grid, hopes soared in Maranello. The Tifosi dared to believe Lewis Hamilton donning the Persis station. The Persit NAP, Scarlet Red for the first time saw a golden opportunity. 1. Last shot at rewriting legacy with the most iconic name in motorsport. The stars, it seemed, had finally aligned. But if there's one thing Ferrari has mastered in recent years, it's the art of the own goal. And as this season unfolds, that story may soon write itself in headlines soaked with regret. While the spotlight in 2024 was fixated on Lando Norris's valiant pursuit of Max Verstappen for the Drivers' Championship, something remarkable was unfolding just behind the scenes. Ferrari were on a relentless charge of their own trailing McLaren by a daunting 75 points with only 6 races to go. The Scuderia mounted a stunning comeback, slicing that gap down to just 14 points by the time the checkered flag fell in Abu Dhabi. It was the kind of form that screamed momentum, the kind that hinted at a title run in 2025. And then Ferrari did what Ferrari does best: self-sabotage. In a decision that baffled the paddock and infuriated fans, Fred Vasseur chose to throw out the 2024 concept entirely. In the final year of these regulations, just as the car found its stride, he hit the reset button. 99% of the car is new, Vasseur proudly declared during FDI, the festive launch of the 2025 Challenger. The timing questionable, the logic even more so. In F1, starting from scratch in a non-regulation year is practically sacrilege. Now, as Ferrari find themselves struggling just to stay inside the top 4, the pressure is boiling over the Italian. Media, always intense, are sharpening their knives. But in Canada, Vasseur turned defensive fast. According to former Ferrari comms chief Roberto Boafoli, the Frenchman absurdly suggested that the team's woes were being fueled by the cracked and forwarding F. Media itself. The backlash was immediate. So it is our problem. The problem is coming from the media, Bofi scoffed. There are people in the papers saying the media is to blame for Ferrari's crisis. Come on. In this kind of crisis, the questions naturally begin explained. Roberto Boafoy, is the company still backing Fred Verse and the Scuderia with the same conviction they had 3, 4, 5 months ago? It's the question echoing through Maranello, one that gains volume with each underwhelming performance. Boca also pointed to the carefully chosen words of Ferrari chairman John Elkann, who publicly reaffirmed his support for Vasseur, a move, he noted, that felt more defensive than decisive. He's the man who brought Vasseur in. He's now acting as the official defender. But that stance doesn't project unity. It feels like damage control, Boca observed. It's a situation that now feels fractured, with divisions creeping in where there should be cohesion. Looking ahead, Bocafoy didn't mince words. I believe Austria, and especially Silverstone, will be pivotal in shaping what happens next. Should Fred Vasseur be sacked if Ferrari doesn't win in the next 2 races? Does he deserve more time to fix the mess? Let us know in the Blanchett comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.